Hi, my friends!
My name is Leisha and I am so excited that you're here. Today's video is one of my absolute favorites, a DIY thrift flip Halloween costume. You can take the tips and tricks from this video and apply them to almost any Halloween costume that you want. But if you want to know how to make this JAWA costume, then follow along and I'll show you what I did.
We made it to the thrift store and got this large brown tablecloth for the fabric for Owen's costume. Not very many people know this trick, but if you can find big pieces of fabric at the thrift store, it is often way less expensive than going and buying yards of fabric at Michael's or Joann's or Hobby Lobby. This huge tablecloth was only $5. I always look at the thrift store for fabric before I go and buy fabric. This would have been way more than $5. You can see here that I'm just tracing Owen out and I'm making sure that the sleeves are the same length, and then I'm just cutting it out. After cutting out, I took it to the sewing machine and sewed up all of those edges. We sewed up the bottom of the sleeve to the armpit and then the armpit down on both sides. After each step, I was sure to try it on Owen to make sure that it was fitting well and looking good. We were going boating right after this, so he is wearing his swimming suit. The neck was too small. I knew it would be, so I just made a slit in the back so that his head can fit through. And that's okay because we're going to sew on the hood and you will never see that. Owen being silly, dancing around. You can see it's terribly long. We'll be hemming and trimming that later. Next, we got those extra pieces of fabric and tried it on Owen's little head to see how much fabric did I need, how long did I want it to be. So I just pinned it on his little head on the front and then pinned it in the back where the deepest part of that little slit was. Okay, and sewing on the hood was the most confusing part. What you need to do is cut out a rectangle and sew the top of the rectangle and the back of the rectangle, leaving the front and the bottom open. Then you stuff the hood into the little dress cloak thing that we made and make sure the hood is right side out, but stuff it into the neck so it's down below, and then sew around the edge of the cloak. Does that make sense? It was confusing and I had to unpick and try again 5 million times. I dug through our costume box and found this satchel that we bought at a thrift store years ago when we thought that Clint was going to be Flynn Rider for Halloween. And I found this belt from one of Clinty's pirate costumes, and I thought it looked really good. Now we're on to trimming and cutting that hemline. One reason that I really love to use fabric from the thrift store is oftentimes you can find fabric that's already hemmed for you. So the way I cut this, I made sure that the hem was on the bottom so I wouldn't need to hem it myself. But after further investigation, I noticed that JAWA cloaks are actually really frayed on the bottom. So I ended up cutting it, fraying it, and then you'll see later that we actually burn the frays so it doesn't fray too much and stays exactly where we want it. Plus, I think burning it gives it a lot of extra dimension and depth and makes it look really good actually. We also frayed the sleeves quite a bit, and we just did that by pulling on this fabric and pulling those threads out. Then after taking it off of Owen, we just burnt those sleeves, and you can see the frays just kind of curl up a little bit, and in some places I just let them melt, and in some places I actually burnt them so that they would turn black, and I ended up loving the way this looked. I ended up also burning just parts of the cloak. I thought it kind of would wrinkle up and turn black, and it made the cloak look really imperfect, and it gave it like burn marks and smudge marks, which I think JAWA's probably had. We're now on to the mask, and I left this part for last because I thought it was going to be really tricky and I was not excited to do it. Clint ended up finding these orange lights for me. I've seen so many JAWA tutorials and they make it so hard on themselves, and these orange lights are the ticket. They're just a few dollars on Amazon. They're the perfect orange, and you'll see I just hot glue them on and I'm pretty much good to go. This Iron Man mask is from the dollar store. We got it for $1. I glued the lights on, and then I just secured them really, really well. I would suggest spray painting this mask black. I didn't think it would be a huge deal because the cloak's going to cover it and make it darker. Plus I'm going to put some tights over it so that it turns it black and Owen can still see out of it. But I realized that in the daylight you could kind of see the gold through it, and so if you want it to be perfect, spray paint it. I debated back and forth, decided not to. It's not that big of a deal, but if I could go back, I would definitely spray paint it black. I'm using my Gorilla Glue sticks to really secure these on, and they're just twist on candles, so I wanted to make sure that the base was extremely secure so that every time we twist it on and off, they wouldn't just pop off. Next we grabbed some of my old tights that have a run in them, so I'm not going to wear them anymore, and really stretched them over the mask. I ended up putting the toe portion over the mask so that it would stretch out really, really far and it'd be easy to see through those little eye holes. You're seeing the golden red more than you do in real life, just simply because I have my ring light on. In real life, you really don't see it quite that much. Next, I got my fabric shears and just cut a slice up the back, put some Gorilla hot glue on the mask, stretched the fabric over, and held it down. If you do not have one of these silicone mats, are you even a DIYer? These are incredible. I never burnt my fingers doing this simply because that incredible silicone mat. Next, I got my scissors, cut around the back part to clean it up and make it look nice, and here's the finished product. Friends, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for being here. I'm so glad you were. Let me know what you think of the costume and if you might try something like this at home. I hope you like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!